and then the pay-per-view is now kind of falling behind. And it takes time. You know, you may be another pay-per-view that may just be off the hook, you know. So sometimes when you kind of change from those stages, something is going to fall back. And right now, what they're falling back on is the pay-per-views, and they need to refocus their attention and kind of build the pay-per-views like they were doing in the past.
Yeah, that makes sense. And one last question. I see Sting won the title. No, okay, that's no problem. But I remember when Cena had the title for that long, they booed him. I mean, so they couldn't boo no more when he had for damn near a year. Hasn't Sting had the belt for almost a year now? And why aren't they booing Sting? Is it because he's a Stinger or what? Because if Cena had the belt for that long, they'll boo him out of WWE. Sting hasn't for that long. They still cheer him in the whole nine. I mean, you know, what's up with all that?
It's interesting because, I mean, Sting is a household name. So, I mean, their approach, TNA's approach, is to putting on a belt on someone that has a household name. Exactly how the fans react, it's strange. You know, there's been times where fans change someone's character to a heel or to a face. I'm trying to think. I think Randy Orton, the first time when he turned back to face, wasn't that the WWE had plans. And I'm using Randy Orton because it's the only person I can think off the top of my head. But the fans made him actually turn face because they were cheering for him. And, you know, same thing with MVP, actually. MVP is another one. So TNA, which has a smaller fan base, they're going to be a little bit more loud, and they're going to cheer and boo whomever they feel comfortable with, and it kind of allows. But I don't see Sting being booed. It's almost just like The Undertaker. I don't see him being booed, even if he's playing a heel role.
Woody1393 from the chat room. You're live on WZR Radio. What's on your mind?
Oh, yes, just one quick thing before I get to my real question.
Sure.
I'm just thinking that maybe it doesn't really matter, but it will be Evan Bourne who will face Jack Swagger at WrestleMania.
You know, they hyped him up pretty good. They've been airing those vignettes. He's going to make his return tonight on ECW. As far as Jack Swagger's opponent at WrestleMania, I mean, you know, they are going to put the Divas Battle Royal. That's going to be a WrestleMania match. You know, I feel like the ECW title, I don't even know that it'll be defended at WrestleMania, or if it is, it may air on the WZROnline.com web show. I mean, you got to remember, we've only got 2 weeks to go. I know they still have to do something over on Raw with JBL and how he's going to defend the IC title against it looks like Rey Mysterio, but that's another match that I mean, right now I think you've got 8 matches on the WrestleMania card. Maybe, I mean, it'd be down to that or a tag team match, and I think if they did like a tag team, maybe a 6-man or 8-man tag team type of match at WrestleMania, I just don't know that the ECW title, that they care that much about it to have it even featured on the WrestleMania pay-per-view. I haven't heard of any plans to have that defended on the actual pay-per-view, whether it's a WWE.com match, that's very possible.
Now, getting back to what you said about Edge taking time off after WrestleMania, what do you think about maybe just because I'm thinking I'm sick of it personally, and I'm sure other fans are too, is having John Cena as a world champion consistently, and it's just not.
Well, they're gonna need a major guy over on SmackDown. You're gonna need one major title on Raw, and you already have Triple H, who's going to be drafted back to Raw. That's pretty much confirmed. So you'd have Triple H and Orton are already on Raw right now. One of those guys is going to take the WWE title and bring it to Raw. Over on SmackDown, you would have maybe John Cena be drafted, because you're going to have to take big names off SmackDown, but you're also going to send at least, I mean, they're not going to stack SmackDown. They're actually going to take a lot away from SmackDown, but they are going to have that one major name over there. And with Edge taking time off, I just don't see the world title being around Big Show's waist. I don't see it. Maybe I do with the storyline that they have with Vicky Guerrero now, and they can continue that on. But I would say Cena would be your top draw over on SmackDown after the draft, and to have him your top draw, he'd have the title. He'd have the WWE title over there on SmackDown. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I'm not really sure, but I do know that Edge is going to take some time off, and it's supposed to be an extended period of time. So I mean, we're looking at least a couple months. You know what I mean? So they're going to have to get they're definitely going to have to get the title off of him at WrestleMania. Whether it goes to Cena or the Big Show, the most obvious seems like Cena.
And I know that Hulk Hogan was willing to, come to WrestleMania for a match if the money was there. And I believe that, Vince McMahon should have thrown the money that way, because it's a lot different for a one-on-one match between Chris Jericho and Hulk Hogan than it is against Roddy Piper, Steamboat, and Jimmy Snuka. I mean, you're talking about a huge...
Oops, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut him off. He was. I'm sorry, man. Thanks for the call, Woody, from the chat room. The Hogan thing. I'm gonna let Jose comment on this. I do just want to add that Hogan had back surgery just a couple weeks ago, and that is in part why he is not going to do anything at WrestleMania. Not to say that he wouldn't appear, because that's still a possibility. But as far as a match is concerned, they don't have plans to do Hogan Jericho. They were, but then Hogan had back surgery and a bunch of other things that factored into it. So I don't know, Jose. What do you know about Hogan Mania? I mean, maybe an appearance, something.
I'd be surprised, only because it's just he has other things to be dealing with, and not only that, but if he's not going to come in to make an impact, then what's the kind of point of even having Hogan show up?
Yeah. Well, Hogan, I mean, did you see the thing on TMZ.com where Linda Hogan's attorney was out in the lobby of the courthouse, right? And Hogan and his attorney walked out. And Linda's attorney was just ranting and raving about Hogan's worthless, and he shouldn't receive. He wanted $300,000 or $250,000 unlocked, frozen assets. And the judge agreed to it and said that he could have those assets. And her attorney was just ranting and raving to the media. And Hogan comes up and he said something, and the guy just went into like a tirade. Did you see that up on TMZ?
No, but I'm gonna see it.
Dude. That was awesome, dude. Hogan came out. Hogan's on crutches right now too. He with the back surgery. So I don't know. I know that Vince did contact him. I mean, that's been out in the media. Hogan's admitted that. Vince contacted him. They couldn't work out anything for WrestleMania match-wise. I don't know. As WrestleMania gets closer, it really wouldn't shock me to see a possible appearance, but as far as a match is concerned, I'm just not sure. I just expect Jericho to go out there and face these three legends, and then another legend will come down, and then another legend, and then another legend, and they all just pile up on Jericho, and I think you cap it off with maybe a Steve Austin coming out in his hometown. He's going to be there the night before with the Hall of Fame ceremony, right? So he comes out, he'll be the last one out. He comes out and he hits a stunner on Jericho to end it, and then Steamboat or Snuka or somebody gets the pin on Jericho. You know what I mean? I just expect more legends to come out than just those three. Those three are going to be built up as the ones that are facing Jericho, but I expect more to come out throughout the match or be around ringside or something, and then cap it off with an Austin stunner or something like that at the end. You know what I mean?
I couldn't write anything more than that. I mean, that's exactly what I feel that the WWE will end up is having this gimmick match. I think out of those three, I think Piper is the most athletic one, or at least healthy enough to actually. I mean, I'm not sure Ricky Steamboat, even though he looked kind of pretty good and jumpy when he came out to the ramp last night. So, but it should be interesting. It should be interesting what they end up doing, and I think that's probably another thing that doesn't have that WrestleMania type of feeling like last year, like Ric Flair's retirement match.
Yeah, something.
Legends match really doesn't spark. Because, I mean, think about it, right? We saw Piper, we saw Snuka, we saw Steamboat, and we have Flair as the captain of the Hall of Famers, we'll call them. Now you're going to just put them all in a match at the biggest show of the year, especially it doesn't. I'd rather have seen Jericho versus CM Punk, just, an example, maybe with the legends around the ringside, like a lumberjack, or, then there's appeal to both, to the wrestling of the actual event, and then on top of that, you throw on the legends. But they decided just Jericho versus the legends, which we already know it's going to be a gimmick match.
Yeah, I think it'll still be cool to see because I expect a lot of legends to come out in that, and each one will hit their spot. You know what I mean? Everybody hits their spot on Jericho, and then somebody gets the pin at the end. You know, they cap it off with an Austin Stunner or something. You know what I mean? Something along those lines. So I think they'll make it into something bigger. But I don't like the fact that they're not plugging an Austin or a Hogan or somebody big. You know, for WrestleMania, especially a celebrity name, like you said, Ric Flair's retirement last year, and Floyd Mayweather and Donald Trump. I mean, we've had some really big WrestleManias, and this WrestleMania is like based around